Hey everybody, this video is part of our full-length The Onside Kick podcast. You can find that on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes. You can pretty much find it anywhere, so we don't care where you listen. Just stick around and check it out.
But Mark, we got to move on into our next topic, and we're talking wide receivers for the rest of the podcast, and we're kind of going to split the big wide receiver section up into two. And first, we're going to focus in on one wide receiver, one we haven't given much love to of yet. We've kind of mentioned his name here and there, and then we're going to end the podcast with ranking our first-round wide receivers, how many wide receivers we think will go in the first round. But the guy I want to focus in on is Zay Jones, because he's a guy we've mentioned before. I've mentioned him when it comes to the Chicago Bears and saying that, hey, in an early second-round pick, they could go ahead and take Zay Jones because they really fell in love with him at this year's Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. I don't know if I believe that anymore because I think that there will be a run of quarterbacks in that second round, and the Bears might be kind of thrown into taking one of the second-round quarterbacks when it comes to their pick. But I'm going to ask you this question. Is Zay Jones a first-round talent? Because Mel Kiper has him mocked right now in his 3.0, 27 to the Chiefs. Is Zay Jones a first-rounder?
Is he a first-round talent? No. Is he going to get drafted in the first round? Totally possible. I don't think so, but totally possible. I think he could definitely sneak his way into the first round, but if he does, he's going to be a Cordero Patterson or something like that, a guy who had promise, people were excited, and completely disappointed. I just think that the possibilities, I like Zay Jones. I like what he can give a team who already has a number one and a number two. He can be another solid option, but he's going to get lost if he's drafted by a team that needs a wide receiver, you know?
Like the Bears.
Yeah, he's got to go somewhere where they're kind of set, you know, and this is just the icing on the cake, essentially, because he's not going to be incredibly fast. He's not going to burn anybody. He's not going to create that separation. Yes, he can reach up and catch a ball up in the air. You know, he's probably not going to win all the contested throws. He came from a really beneficial situation for him where he was the option. And he's a good player. He's got the heart that you want. He's got everything you want out of a guy who's going to be, like I said, your number two or your number three.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, the big thing when I see him, and the big thing, you mentioned it, was he's not a guy that's going to get huge vertical separation on his routes, and he's also a guy that he doesn't have the cleanest release. I mean, yeah, he was the all-time FBS leader in receptions, but that's because he got a high percentage of shorter throws and screens to get those receptions. And I look at that, and the number one team I look at that based off of just that, who gives a lot of short passes and he could use a lot of screens to get him a lot of touches with the ball. Looking at you, Dak Prescott. Looking at you, Dallas Cowboys. Because that was my biggest complaint of him.
Yeah.
Just they dink and dunk it down the field. Yeah, those dink and dunks, the Cole Beasleys would run it a little bit further. They wouldn't go and Hail Mary it down the field. But that's the first team I look for. But at 28, I don't see the Cowboys going ahead and taking a wide receiver, and kind of looking at some of the team needs. I mean, the Titans need a wide receiver. Let's be honest. They'll probably get that early. He won't even be in the discussion there. The Chargers could use a wide receiver.
Yeah,
I just don't know if he fits the Charger mold, mainly because...
But they have some good wide receivers already.
But Keenan Allen getting injured. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
2 straight years of being injured. Will third year be the charm where he's not injured? I mean, the Bills need a wide receiver. They could go with one early on. The thing that I kind of tickle me pink here, but the one that I kind of look at, the kind of best team for him, could be the 32nd overall pick. Right there on the cusp of the second round, the Saints taking him.
I mean,
they just gave up Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only dangerous thing for that is if the expectations are he's replacing Brandon Cooks. No, it's completely different in that situation. But, yeah, he could certainly be good. He just wants somebody that's going to release the ball quick. A team that's going to have a good run game would be incredibly useful. I would love to see him in Seattle. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen. It's not really a big need for Seattle, but I would love to see it just because I think with a strong run game, a great defense that they have out there, Russell Wilson, who is a guy who doesn't throw the ball a ton, but wants to get the ball out quick. But if he doesn't, let the play break down and things like that, Zay Jones could really thrive in this situation. And especially, I mean, hell, let him go to Green Bay if you want to talk about breaking down plays, because he is really, really smart. He understands football. He understands what defenses are doing, and he understands if this is breaking down, he's going to be the first guy to get open because he's going to know how.
And the thing that I kind of think about, I'm thinking in my head, and this could be another good team for him to go to if he were to be drafted in the first round, because it's kind of like you said, Mark. Is he a first round talent? Maybe. Like you said no, I say maybe. Where I think he's on the cusp. Is he an early second? You're damn right. Could you see him as a first round? Let's see a little bit more through the draft process, see what he goes to. But there is definitely a possibility where, to me, he gets drafted, let's say anywhere from 26th to the end. Right as soon as we get past the Texans. Maybe the Texans might be the first team where it's like, boom, there's the spotlight. I mean, the Lions would be interesting, but like you said, that could be a situation where I know they have a number one there, but it's not a solid number one like it was with Megatron there. So really I'm looking 25 to the end. And the team I look at, the Pittsburgh Steelers. If he's going to go in the first round, what about Pittsburgh?
That'd be nice.
They're a team. They got Antonio Brown. They got their number 2 of Darius Hayward-Bay. They even have a number 3 in Eli Rogers. Let him be the 4th. Let him be that guy that comes in, screen pass, short pass, bing, bang, bong, and let him get those high percentage receptions, and you don't have to rely on him as much because you got the deep threat of Antonio Brown, and he's your number 1.
Yeah, I think that could be great. I mean, if you're expecting this guy to come in and change your offense,
he's not gonna.
You're gonna be incredibly disappointed. If you're expecting him to go out here and just be, the sprinkles on your ice cream or whatever, that's great. Then he's going to be exactly what you want. It's actually kind of unfortunate that he has performed lately as good as he has, because he's going to probably climb his way off some draft boards and potentially disappoint and not live up to the expectations. If he was sitting there in the middle of the second round to third round, that's great. That's perfect. That's exactly where he really should have been, and then he will impress teams and, kind of be loose change, essentially, something that you're excited about. But yeah, going a little bit earlier now, it's running into a dangerous spot. And it's not because he's a bad wide receiver or anything. It's just that he's not going to be the exceptional talent that he was in college.
Well, and that's because of his scheme. Let's be honest. The only reason that, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Zay Jones, but the only reason he set records for the reception was because of the scheme that he had at East Carolina. That's mainly it. The high percentage, the high volume that he got in passes and targets led to the record for receptions that he had. And the one thing that I'm basically going to quote this right from the draft profile in NFL.com, because it's entirely true when you look at him, is on top of that, as a one-on-one receiver at the pro level, he'll have to prove his speed and quickness to uncover against man coverage. And it's one of those things where if he can do that, then okay, he can be a solid talent in the NFL. If he can't, then he's one of those second-tier guys that comes in. He's a slant guy. He's a short pass, high percentage pass kind of a guy. And I mean, the thing I kind of think of, I mentioned him early, he could be kind of a maybe even a better version of Cole Beasley. A guy who comes in short over the middle, get it to him, and then boom, he can run there. He doesn't have to create separation with his speed.
Yeah, certainly could. And I think that it's going to be the name is getting tossed around so much that fans of whoever's team drafts him are going to need to be reminded of, hey, this guy is depth, essentially, or he's going to be third on the chart or something like that. Like, you just need to kind of be given that reality check of, this isn't a game changer. This is not Megatron 2.0.
Even if he's taken in the first round.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to ask you this. Let's say he doesn't get taken in the first round. Let's say the Bears pass up on him because they're in the run. Because the run of quarterbacks, I think, will happen because we've got the Browns at 33, the Niners at 34, Bears at 35, and the Jets at 39. If he's there for 38 for the Los Angeles Chargers, one of the needs could be seen as wide receiver.
For sure.
Do they go ahead and take him at 38? Would you go ahead and take him at 38?
I would.
For a Charger team.
I would. Why not? We're probably assuming that the quarterbacks have already gone, so it's not like you're going to get the heir to Phillip Rivers. So, yeah, I certainly would. I mean, you have injury issues at the wide receiver position. It's a position that you should have shored up. You've already gotten your running back that you feel good about for the future. Just get more weapons for Phillip Rivers because, as we always say on this podcast, quarterbacks only have so long. You got to get what you can out of them while you have them.
Especially when they keep losing their weapons to injury like Allen the last 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these last 2 years, if Allen is there instead of being hurt all the time, you got to imagine that Phillip Rivers could do more for that team because he's already getting every last bit of success out of that team. He could do a little bit more. Now, you could easily argue that, hey, you know what? Let's focus on defense or something like that, or improve the offensive line. Sure, you can make those arguments, but good talent, hard to pass up.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this is my range for Zay Jones. The highest that he gets picked, 20. I'll go 25 to the Texans because maybe they could look at it as if they really wanted to, hey, Will Fuller, we can kind of use him as in that short kind of a game, get the ball to him quick, that same success that we saw from Will Fuller, especially earlier in the season. Of course, Will Fuller, though, is a higher talent than Zay Jones in my mind. The lowest I could see him getting drafted, 44th overall. How I see it is if, either three things are going to happen. He gets snapped up by the Chiefs or the Steelers at 27, or I believe it's 27 and 28, because I believe the Steelers and Chiefs, 27 or 30. Pardon me, 27 or 30. If he doesn't get drafted by them too, the second option is that the Saints take him at the 32nd overall pick. Other than that, he's either going to the Chargers, the Saints again. If the Saints see him at 42, they snag him. Yeah. And 44, I say maybe, because if he gets to 44, the Bills, if they go maybe Deshaun Watson at 10, they go a quarterback at 10. If he's there at 44, the Bills go, boom, he's a wide receiver.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about the Bills going quarterback. Remember, Tyrod Taylor's back.
I'm just saying if. Saying if, because there have been mocks that have put a quarterback to them. I think they go either defense or wide receiver in the first round. I think really, to me, it's either the Chargers, the Saints, or the Chiefs and the Steelers. Those are the three options.
Sounds good to me. Man, I love the idea of him going to the Steelers. But that's just something that's not necessarily needed.
You've got your number one, your number two. You have a tight end that Big Ben can throw to. You have a solid run game. You can basically come in and just work. You don't have no pressure on you at that point.
Yeah.
You can just come in, do your job. But I kind of have a feeling, I'm looking at that 42nd pick, and I'm kind of thinking, man, if the Saints pass on him once, and he somehow gets to them again. Let's say they go safety and cornerback, or defensive end and cornerback in the first round. If he gets them again at 42, I don't think Sean Payton passes on him a second time. I think they snag him
I can see it.
at 42. But before we move on into our ranking the first round wide receivers, I want to throw this out to you guys. What do you guys think? What do you think of Zay Jones? Where do you think he's going to go? Is he a first round talent in your mind, or is he an early second round talent? Let us know down in the description.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And don't worry, there is plenty more where that came from. You guys can check it out right over here. Click that video, start watching it, and just stick around on Most Valuable Podcasts.